Alright y'all, so real quick, before we get the maintenance going on the mower, you can hear it's raining. So we're going to do a 100-hour interval maintenance, as I mentioned earlier, I believe already. But I will show part numbers and some of the tools and things that I use to do my maintenance. So hopefully this information is helpful, and let's get to it. Alright, so you can see here, got all my parts. And these are all John Deere OE parts. Everything is inline fuel filter. There's your part number. Inline fuel filter. You can see to replace this one here. Got the John Deere oil filter. Pretty standard on a lot of John Deere mowers. And we'll get it replaced here shortly. See, it's sitting right there. Sometimes I can get this cup filter to work. Sometimes it does slip a little bit, so we'll see. We may use the strap wrench. This is a 10mm socket that is used to loosen the oil drain plug, which is right there. You can use a large flat blade, but the socket tends to work a little bit better because it is plastic. So got my two spark plugs. These are NGK part numbers, and 2 quarts of the John Deere 1030 Turf Guard oil. This is the only oil that I've ever run in this machine. It has served me well. Again, I just got 1200 hours as noted in my previous video, so it's still plugging along. And I've had this draining for a little while. I actually went and grabbed some dinner and let it drain. So we're going to loosen the filter and see how much we've got left to come out there. And also we'll use these little needle nose type pliers, and what those are for is your clamps here on your fuel filter. There's one on either side, and just pinch the clamp, slide it down the hose a little ways, slide this one up the hose a little ways, pull your hoses off. Maybe get an empty coffee can or a solo cup, something to drop the filter in, and put your new filter in. Make sure you pay attention to the flow on the filter, that you put it back in the same way. The filter does have a raised arrow on it that points in the direction of the flow, so you can see that. It is clear like the filter itself, so you really have to kind of open this up and take a look. So let's go ahead and pull this out and see if we can see it. And it's right there. I don't know if you can see that. There, you can kind of see it right there, that triangle shape. That tells you that the flow of fuel goes this way. So just make sure that this is the feed coming from the tank, and then this is going to the engine side. So that's just one way to make sure you put the filter in the right way. If you happen to take it out and gone for a few minutes and can't remember which way, you can always find that arrow. So let's see if I can loosen up this oil filter. We're going to try the cup wrench first. This is a 3/8 drive, standard ratchet, and we're going to see if we can get it off. The trouble with this is sometimes it does tend to, again, bind on the filter. Sometimes it slips, sometimes it binds. Push button. That's the one thing about this filter wrench, is sometimes it does tend to torque a little bit onto the ridges, so if it gets a little snug after being on there for a while, it can be kind of tough to get off. There we go. Torque it a little bit. Not gonna say it comes right off, but it does come off. Let me go grab a tractor towel. So once you do that, you can drain this, just spin it off. There shouldn't be a ton in here because the oil plug was drained for a while. Set it down in the oil pan, let it finish draining. And I do the same thing I do with my car filters, which is I take a little bit of this old oil and just rub it on the rubber gasket on the filter. Just helps it create a little bit better seal. Clean this little deck shelf area off, and spin on our new filter. Pretty much snug it up about as much as you can with your hand. And then you can snug it up a little more with the wrench, but if you get that thing good and hand tight snug on there, not going to have a problem with it. Then once you do that, you can take your, I use a 1/4 inch drive, short, like a medium extension, 10mm socket. This plastic plug tends to be a little aggravating to hand tighten, so it works a little easier with your wrench. Snug it up in there. And then once it snugs, we'll 1/4 to a 1/2 turn, let it pop, sealed off. Clean up any excess oil, obviously. Just kind of wipe it down. And I just buy the Scott's brand shop towels. Pick them up at AutoZone or anywhere like that. So, pretty simple. Clean everything up. And then while you let any excess drip out of the oil hose, which is just runs out and hangs underneath the mower, you can take your air filter and, just as a reference point, we'll pull our old filter out. And this is our old air filter. This is our new air filter. So you can see, definitely need to be changed. Inner air filter looks pretty clean. So we'll just leave it in. Slide the filter on. It's there. That's your cover. It's indicated which side is the top. Slide it on. Clips on both sides. And that's that. So the last thing, let me get some tools together, but the last thing here is spark plugs. You have one on either side. Simply pull your plug wire off. I'll be right back. Get my socket for this, show you what it is, and then we'll wrap everything up, do the fuel filter, and be done. So as you can see, again, we got the plug wire off. It is also a 3/8 ratchet, and this is a 13/16, if you can see that, spark plug socket, and has your little rubber grommet inside of it. Put that on. Slides on the spark plug. Pop it loose. Get to a certain point, just pop it out, and you can grab the hex part of that socket and just twist it on out. It's amazing how long these threads are on these spark plugs, y'all. Before I do that, I'll grab our replacement plug and have it ready. Got it out. Replacement plug, as you can see, old plug, new plug. Should help her keep on running smooth. And I can just go ahead and stick that back in there. Slide it in. Get it started back. And put the ratchet in when you get close to the end. Snug it on up, and then once it stops, just put a little bit of extra torque on it. Right there. It's not snugged up yet. Almost. There we go. Snug. Make sure when you put that plug wire back on there that it pops into the little metal clip connector that's inside this, so you get a good connection on your plug. We're going to do the other side, and then we'll show you how to do the fuel filter. Alright, so as you can see, I got my little canister here. Got me a few paper towels just to kind of keep any excess fuel from getting all over too much here. You can see down here I've already moved one of my clamps. Just simply needle nose, squeeze it together, slide it up and down the hose. You can grab it, it's probably easier to do it that way. Slides up and down, and you see where your filter's in. The only problem I have noticed with these is when you go to change these at 100 hours, because of the fuel pressure or just flow and sitting for a little while, sometimes it tends to be a little difficult to get, the filter doesn't just simply pull out. So you have to kind of try to twist it back and forth a little bit to get it to break loose. And sometimes it takes a good minute for it to and you'll hear it. If you hear that noise, that's it's breaking loose. And you can do the same thing on the bottom. Just kind of back and forth. Work it loose when you hear that movement. Then what you can do is, once it makes that noise and starts to spin, you just simply work it out. So you'll get a little bit of fuel on your hand, nothing major. Twist your filter out. And just as a reference, this is your old fuel filter, new fuel filter. Again, this is a 100-hour change, so you'll see, once again, I find my flow arrow, which is right here. Flow wants to go that way. This is the coming from the tank here, so it'll slide back in a whole lot easier. This slides in here all the way up to the filter, and then you just simply take your pliers, squeeze, slides back down up next to the filter. Same thing with this one. Much easier to grab it this way. Slides up close to the filter, and there you go. So we've got our spark plugs in. I'm going to add the oil. Got our fuel filter in, new air filter. Going to drop the old filter in this bucket. Going to put our oil in, and then we're going to start it up. And you can hear it's starting to rain here. So we're going to put the oil in, and then we'll do a quick start up, and that'll be it. We'll close it out. Alright, let's start it up. Alright, so we got it started back up. No major issues. Runs good. Fired right up, as you can tell. Again, it's got 1,204 hours on, I think is what's on the meter. So I hope that some of this information was helpful as to how I do it. This is my every 100-hour maintenance. I just recently actually greased the deck about a week and a half ago, so don't have to do that now, but typically I would, depending on the timing, I would grease each of the deck pulleys and make sure that all that's good. So it's been working great. These are actually the original spindles on this deck. I have replaced pulleys, but the spindles are all original, so must be doing something right. Just want to take a minute to thank everybody for subscribing. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and let me know if you've got a John Deere similar to this, or just how you do your maintenance on your mowers. And yeah, that's what we got. Thanks everybody for checking out the channel. If you haven't yet, again, hit that subscribe button down at the bottom. You'll see it, that's under the logo. And leave me a thumbs up. It makes me look good to YouTube, little guys. And leave me a comment. Again, let me know what you think. I like the interaction with people sharing their information and their thoughts. And we'll catch you on the next one, everybody. Y'all be safe, be kind, and take care.